Welcome to the Tony Scott Internet Show for a Friday. What's going on? Got weekend plans? Gonna save some money? Olivia's coming home for high school homecoming. She wants to go, there was a recent tragedy at the school and she wants to reconnect with some of her former teammates from the dance team. So she's coming home for the weekend for that. So looking forward to that later on today. All right. Lots going on, man. Lots going on. I know Wednesday night, young man named Vonderrit Myers Jr., 18 years old, was shot and killed by an off-duty police officer that was working private security. Now, you should know that St. Louis City police are allowed to work private security on their off time. And they also have their police powers. The police powers are with them 24/7. So they're off duty, but they always are cops. Now, what we think we know is while the officer was patrolling, he saw three men, and police say they started to run, and the officer chased after them. He followed one through a gangway, and the officer ordered the man to stop. Police say he refused to stop. Police said the officer and Vonderrit tussled, and then Vonderrit ran again, and police say the officer didn't want to shoot until he was sure the young man was armed. Police say Vonderrit fired 3 shots, and then his gun jammed. The officer fired 17 shots. Police later recovered the suspect's gun. That gun was reported stolen last month. Vonderrit was wearing an ankle bracelet, according to police, that was under house arrest from a June charge of unlawful use of a weapon and resisting arrest. Now, a crowd gathered after all this went down, and it got tense in the Shaw neighborhood for a minute. Police did arrest one person. It's also being reported that police used restraint. A lot of restraint. The officer was put on paid leave. That's normal protocol. Vonderrit's mother says her son was not armed. Sarita Myers says he was carrying a sandwich. She also says when police lie, they lied about Michael Brown too. St. Louis Police Chief Sam Dotson said Vonderrit Myers was no stranger to police. The Post-Dispatch says Vonderrit Myers was shot somewhere between 5 and 7 times. Now, the manager of the Shaw Market, that's not far from where the shooting happened, says that Vonderrit Myers bought a turkey sandwich and a soda about 10 minutes before the shooting. He said that he knew Vonderrit. He didn't believe he was carrying a gun, and it didn't fit his personality, is what he's saying. Now, a couple things here I noticed in this particular report was, one, 17 times? 17 times? You shot 17 times. That's a lot of shooting from one gun, from one officer. And for St. Louis Police Chief Sam Dotson to say that Vonderrit Myers was no stranger to police, you're not helping, man. You're not helping. You want to keep how can I say this? You want everybody to give the police a fair shake, but you're not helping. You're slanting. By saying that, you're slanting everything and giving people a prejudged view of Vonderrit Myers. You know what I'm saying? It's like the websites for some of the TV stations, they posted Vonderrit's mugshot. Well, that already slants everything, right? Because we all know in this society, once you're a criminal, you can never redeem yourself. You can never get your life back. You're just, you're a marked man forever. I'm being sarcastic, but that's something that we really don't need. Now, the only similarity really to this is to Michael Brown is Vonderrit was also an African American. He was also 18 and he's dead. That's really all we know at this point, right? The police officer, like I said, he's on paid leave. People are saying, why does he get a paid vacation? It's normal protocol, right? And it's something that was negotiated, I'm sure, with the police union and all that stuff like that. It normally happens all the time. So that doesn't really bother me. But the police said, Chief Dotson says, we never recovered any sandwich at that crime scene, ever. Not one. We didn't see any sandwiches. We didn't see one that he was supposedly carrying. We did recover the gun, which they say was a 9mm, I think is what they were saying. But it's going to be interesting how this fleshes out. See, the problem here is what Von Derrick's mother, Sarita Myers, says. She says police lie. They lie about Mike. They lied about Michael Brown too. You see, and there is the problem right there. And I don't have a solution because we seem to be taking steps backwards and not forwards in regards to this whole thing. The police are not trusted by a large part of the African American community. I'm not going to say by every person, because there are African American families whose head of the household or, significant other of somebody is a cop, and they do good work. And most cops do good work. But there's a huge mistrust there. And with reason. With lots of reason to back it up. I said this before. When an African American man gets pulled over by the police, and it can be for a lot of different things. It could be because the tail light's out. It could be that he ran through a stop sign. It could be anything. A lot of times because he's driving a nice car. He's in the wrong part of town. I remember when I was doing radio that we were talking about this, and a white guy called up and says that, and it was the day after, I spoke about this the other day, when 2020, was it 2020? They did a thing about racism in St. Louis one Thursday night. And the next day we talked about it because it really painted St. Louis in a bad light, but it was the truth. And this white guy calls me on the radio and says that he was with a friend of his driving through Clayton. His friend was African American. They get pulled over by the police. And while one police officer is talking to the African American, the other officer is talking to the white guy who called me. He told me that the white officer told him, "You know better than that." See, that's the mistrust of the police. I don't know if it's something that we'll ever get over. In this area, I don't even know if convicting Darren Wilson or this officer or any officer who is charged with a vicious crime against an African American that was totally unjustified. I don't even know if that'll smooth things over, because what we're talking about isn't one or two things, Since August 9th, this is like the third African American male, I'm just going off the top of my head, the third African American male to be shot and killed in the St. Louis area by St. Louis police. You mean to tell me that all three of them were a threat and needed to die? All three of them since August 9th. I just find that hard to believe. I just don't see that. It makes no sense to me. And people need to wake up that, again, most police officers are outstanding officers and deserve our respect. But like in any situation, family, we always have a family member who's out of pocket all the time, right? I just had two cousins arrested 2 weeks ago down in Texas for breaking into a house that was next door to a police officer. One of my cousins is a convicted felon. He had a gun on him, and they struggled, and the gun went off. Nobody was hit. But yeah, we all have those kinds of people in our families, right? So in the police family, there are bad officers. And if you look the other way, if you're a police officer and you look the other way as far as a bad police officer, then you're just as bad as they are in my eyes. But the distrust of the police is a real thing. And not to understand that, because that's not your reality, is being ignorant and keeping your head buried in the sand. It's a problem in this country. Lucas Oil co-founder Forrest Lucas had to take a full-page ad out in the newspaper in Indianapolis because his wife Charlotte decided that she wanted to be a bigot on Facebook. Forrest Lucas says his wife's post was, quote, harsh and insensitive. She posted and it was deleted, but nothing ever is gone forever on Facebook. She wrote, and I'm quoting now, "I'm sick and tired of minorities running our country. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think the atheist minority, Muslims minority, or any other minority group has the right to tell the majority of the people in the United States what they can and cannot do here. Is everyone so scared that they cannot fight back for what is right or wrong with this country? So you're telling me that if a certain race of people are complaining because they are being treated unequal, although in this country we're all supposed to be treated equal, in theory, on paper, you're telling me that they complain they're out of pocket. This is what you're telling. This is what Charlotte Lucas is saying. Is that what she's saying? Sounds like what she's saying to me. That if you're a minority, you're not allowed a voice? Man, what if the tables were reversed and it was white people who were slaves and were always looked at with the side eye and followed around stores and pulled over for no reason by police and discriminated against in housing and employment, right? And called names, ugly names, and were lynched back in the day. And then they were told, no, never happened. If it happened, it's because you provoked it. Now, let me be clear, and I've said this before, and I will always say this when I'm talking about stuff like this, that not all white people are like that. I live across the street from an elderly couple who've always been liberal Democrats and see the world for what it is, injustices and all. They do. Now, Charlotte Lucas issued a statement afterwards saying, "My comments did not reflect my personal views." Well, then what did they reflect? It came out your mouth. You said it. You said you're sick and tired. You said that minorities don't have the right to tell the majority what they can and cannot do. That came out of your mouth. My comments did not reflect my personal views about any individual or minority group. Only my frustration that our government system sometimes seems out of balance, she said. We live in a great country, but the agenda for our elected officials is too often dictated by special interest groups. Okay, minorities are not special interest groups. Tobacco lobbyists, gun lobbyists, those are special interest groups. Okay? Muslims, African Americans, Latinos, those are races. Okay, those are a race of people. You don't even have that right. God damn. It's like, I'm sorry, but I mean, come on, man. Really? I just can't believe that. Man. In Montgomery, Alabama, Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church pastor Juan Demetrius McFarland told the congregation that he has full-blown AIDS and that he slept with church members without telling them that he had AIDS. The church removed him as pastor this past Sunday. Deacon Nathan Williams said he concealed from the church that he had knowingly engaged in adultery in the church building with female members of Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church while knowingly having AIDS. Listen to what one anonymous member of the congregation had to say.
I believe that he should be put on go to court and let the judge decide if he should go to jail or not.
Why wouldn't he not be charged? Why would he not be charged? He knowingly had unprotected sex. I can never say that right. Unprotected sex with people, knowing that he had full-blown AIDS, not HIV. He's got AIDS. And everybody else who does that goes to jail, right? Everybody gets charged. If that's not attempted murder, I don't know what is. You knowingly have a fatal disease, and you didn't give the people you had sex with the option, one, of not having sex with you, knowing that you had AIDS, or protecting yourself from them by using a condom. So there's some people who would have said, all right, you got AIDS, but you got a condom? We'll go. Yeah, I know there are people who do that. But to knowingly do that to someone, wow, there should be no question that he should be charged. But he's a pastor. So? So what? He's as bad as, remember Boss Man in St. Louis? If you're from the St. Louis area, you remember Boss Man back in the day, right? There's been lots of people who have done this. And although Boss Man, I don't think he was ever charged with this, but he should have been. And this pastor should be charged. No question. There's no question. You don't get a pass because you're a pastor. Then how come priests didn't get a pass when it came to... Well, they did get a pass. Let me just correct myself right now. A lot of priests got passes when it came to molestation of young boys because they were just reassigned to other churches to get more victims. So that's a whole nother discussion I really don't want to have right now, though. An HIV plus transgendered woman says that when she was in prison, and she was in a male prison, she had a sexual encounter with O.J. Simpson.
Hi, my name is Jasmina Jameson. Recently, from 2011 to 2013, I spent time with O.J. Simpson in Lovelock Correctional Center in the state of Nevada. First of all, you know it's a prison. There are no females in there. I was the closest thing to a real woman in there. So what guy wouldn't be attracted to me, at least to look?
Right.
And then to entertain the thought, possibly. You know, because first it's a thought. But I ended up having oral sex with him.
All right, that's courtesy of Radar Online. So she had oral sex. She was a giver, not a receiver of oral sex. She also said, and I'll link you to it. You go to at talking360.com, and you can watch it for yourself. And she also says that before they had sex, she flirted with everybody. Because she says, what man wouldn't want, when you're in prison, what man wouldn't want someone like me? Basically is what she said. And she says that OJ told her that she had big boobs. Are they implants, or did you take hormonal injections? And then she showed them to him. He didn't touch him at that time. But down the road, there was still flirting. She would still flirt with him, and she's alleging that she gave him oral sex. So I want to call BS on this because, as we all know, OJ only likes white women. You know, so, I mean, this woman clearly is not, when you see the video, you'll see she's clearly not a white woman. But, I mean, am I calling BS on the story for any other reason? I'm calling BS on the whole thing. Come on, man. Come on. She said the whole thing lasted about 4 or 5 minutes. You know? I don't believe that. There are a lot of people who are skeptical of the... A lot of people are iffy about O.J. Simpson anyway, so anything negative about him, they're going to believe. So, you know, I don't believe that. So I've got news, much more entertainment news. Vivica, Kerry Washington, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees are announced. I also got word Johnny Blaze, the stripper from Houston who says Drake put out a hit on her. Well, now she's backing down from that one a little bit. I'll tell you what she said coming up on the Tony Scott Internet Show.
Do you want to reach an audience that you haven't tapped into yet and not blow your budget? The Tony Scott Internet Show is new, growing, and available to you. Advertising on the Tony Scott Internet Show is extremely affordable. Contact us at advertise@tonyscottshow.com.
Someone said this music bed fits me to a T. Because I'm funky. Hold on. No, I took a shower this morning. I'm good. It's the Friday edition of the Tony Scott Internet Show. Welcome. We'll have our Men on Scandal show that I do with Mark Clark from, y'all remember him. If y'all St. Louis, y'all know Mark Clark is my best friend. And my very, 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 very good friend, Troy Johnson. We do a show called Men on Scandal. And these are two veterans of the broadcast industry whom we got together and decided that we wanted to do something, and this is what we do. And from that came another show called Men on Everything, where we talk about all kinds of stuff, a lot of stuff from this podcast, but I get their perspective, and I think it's pretty interesting. You can go to talking360.com, click on Men on for the Men on Everything show, or Men on Scandal for Men on Scandal. There's also an audio podcast available if you want to download it and take it with you to the gym, or while you take that drive, like this podcast is available for. And we put it in as many platforms as possible. We do an audio version that we put on YouTube that's just audio. We also put it on Spreaker, which in turn puts it on iHeartRadio. And we put it on Podbean, which in turn puts it on iTunes. So we're very excited about that. I have it available for you in as many ways as possible. And if I need to put it somewhere else, please let me know. If it makes it convenient for you, I'll look into it, as long as it don't cost any money. Vivica Fox was on Oprah. Oprah does these Where Are They Now segments. And I don't know. It kind of, when you do a Where Are They Now, it kind of implies that it's over. And it's been over for a while. What you've been up to? I hate to think that about anybody, though. But hey, what are you going to do? But Vivica told Oprah what her biggest regret in her life ever was.
Do you ever miss being a mother?
Of course.
Really?
If that's the biggest regret of my life that I have was that I didn't have a child, but I'm a good godmother.
Really?
Oh yeah, I bring the best gifts and throw the best parties. If that's the one thing that I have a regret about, that would be that I didn't have a child.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't expect that answer.
Well, that's the answer you got. You know what I wish, as a fan of Vivica Fox, what she wouldn't have done was had the plastic surgery, because I just thought she was aging just as gracefully as anybody could possibly be. And then when she had her face done and all that, I just, I'm still a fan, but I love her old look. I thought she looked great. And I wonder if that's Oprah's biggest regret, that she didn't have any children. I mean, she did have a child, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. I think they both would have made great moms, but it is what it is. That clip courtesy, by the way, of OWN TV, and I'll link you to it on the Streets of Talking page at talking360.com. All right, Kerry Washington says that when she was growing up in New York, she would go to the Boys and Girls Club of the Bronx, and lo and behold, they would have a substitute teacher during dance class every once in a while, and it was Jennifer Lopez. She says, Jennifer Lopez taught me how to dance. That's what her mouth say. She says when Jennifer was leaving the New York area to go and be a fly girl and make it out in L.A., she says that everybody was like, wow, whoa, she's going to L.A., wow, she's going to be big. Now, that kind of implies that Jennifer Lopez is considerably older than Kerry Washington. I don't think that's the case, but that's kind of cool to find out, though, that Jennifer Lopez taught her how to dance. That's really cool. I thought it was pretty cool. The 2015 nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame have been announced. They were announced yesterday. On the ballot are I'll give you all of them, the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. Chic, who've actually been nominated. This is like their 9th time. How come they're not in? They're Green Day is on the ballot. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Kraftwerk. Remember the Marvelettes? NWA. This is not their first time being nominated, but they're on the nominee ballot this year. 9 Inch Nails, Lou Reed, and Sting are both on the ballot. They're both in already as members of Lou Reed of the Velvet Underground, of course, Sting with the Police, but this time they're going as solo artists. They're nominated for that. The Smiths are on the list. The Spinners. Why are not the Spinners are not in there? I'll never know. Stevie Ray Vaughan. War. And Bill Withers. I love Bill Withers. I think Bill Withers is awesome. There was a documentary released a couple years ago called Still Bill. Have you seen that? If you've never seen that, you need to get that wherever you can get it. Netflix, if it's on Netflix, I don't know if it is or not. I know it's on iTunes, and you can rent it for like, $3 or something like that. And it's very good. Very good. And who are you surprised out of that list that's not in the hall? I'm surprised Bill Withers, War, and the Spinners are not in there. Kind of surprised by Chic, only because, they were, one of the big bands in the disco era. And Le Freak came out. And, what was the slow, mellowed out song? Some kind of summer song. It was great. But they're not in there either. So go figure. Go figure. Johnny Blaze is a stripper in Houston. Now, I told you about this yesterday, that Johnny Blaze says that she had a secret fling with Drake. And that he's a very loving, sexually sensual guy. And they had an argument because there was some event out in L.A. and he flew her friend out. What was her name? Lyra Galore, another stripper. And they said they broke up after that. But she says that from that, they had a falling out, and that she alleged that Drake had put a hit out on her. Now she says that never happened, and she has nothing but respect for Drake. Drizzy. Originally, she says that she's a stripper. She got let go from her job at the strip joint. She says the two guys there looking for her? Well, I think yesterday she said there were two shady looking guys or something like that. It's like all the guys at strip clubs look shady. What are you talking? You ever been to a strip club? You know what? You know when they look really shady though. I guess I've been to one before. Here's the truth. Dudes who go to strip clubs in the daytime look way more shady than dudes who go to strip clubs at night. They really do. They do, man. They show up in coats in the summertime and stuff. You know, it's like, it's just. Mark and I one time went with a friend of ours, and a friend of ours was taking us. He wanted to have lunch there. He said they had great wings, so we went and had wings at was it PT's in St. Louis or across in Sauget? I think it was. Yeah, but yeah, she says all that never happened. She says I'm not pregnant by Drake. She also said, like I said, she lost her job. She said her and Drake had a friendly relationship, but they fell out after an argument. So I never believed anything she had to say. But I told you that yesterday. I thought that was just a bunch of garbage. That was not true at all. But it is what it is, and she turns out that she was wrong. Have you been following the Adrian Peterson story? I mean, not the child abuse thing, but Adrian Peterson, apparently the prosecutors in Montgomery County, Texas, have filed paperwork to have his bail revoked and him rearrested because he told a drug tester on Wednesday that he had just smoked some weed before he had to take the urine test. They're saying he admitted that he, quote, smoked a little weed, his words, allegedly, before the test. And, part of one of the things that you sign your name to when you get out on bond is that you're not going to do any drugs of any kind. So the Assistant District Attorney, Bill Delmore, says in light of this statement and the fact that it was made during the urinalysis testing process and the term weed is a common slang term for marijuana, the state argues that the defendant has smoked marijuana while on bond. He had been freed on $15,000 bond on a charge of felony child abuse. We all know about that. A trial had been set for December 1st. Now, nothing's going to happen until they get a new judge. The judge is in the middle of a recusal hearing. Is that the right term? And that hasn't, I don't think that's even been scheduled yet. But that's going to happen first before a judge will hear the motion to have his bond revoked and him rearrested. His lawyer says, don't rush to judgment. All right, everybody calm down. So he must have known, because my question was, why would he say that? Because I'm questioning whether or not the person who heard it, who reported it, was making up the story for their 15 minutes of fame. I was wondering if it was misinterpreted somehow. I got to wondering, why would he say that? Why would you smoke weed on the day you're going to give a urine test, give urine for a drug test? Why would you do that? Why did you admit to that? And he probably, I'm guessing if he did admit to that, probably because he knew he was busted. He knew he just smoked the weed and he's getting ready to take this urine test. So he probably figured, I'll just admit it. Maybe they'll cut me some slack or something. But dude, admit to nothing, man. maybe there'll be like a false positive or positive negative or whatever. Maybe the test will be messed up. I don't know. But man, don't make it easy for him. Good Lord. I mean, come on, man. Really? Adrian Peterson. You're not making it easy for anybody, man. The only person who's your lawyer's making more money off of this than he should. Come on, man. Oh, man. I don't know. Is it me? If it's me, tell me. If it's me, really. I'm just saying. All right, we're going to wrap it up right here. We're at about 30 minutes. I don't like to go longer than 30 minutes. I don't know why, but I just don't like to do that. But I appreciate you so much for listening, downloading, sharing, reposting, all that stuff. I tell you this every day. You're going to get sick of me hearing this, but it means the world. So if you can continue to do that, that will help me grow this podcast, all right? Which in turn will help me feed my family, hopefully. So thank you so much again for listening, downloading, and sharing. All right, the Tony Scott Internet Show is available when you want it. Just go to talkin360.com and go to the audio only page. You'll see it there at the top. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday.